And Crocker, and Aaron, you need to get in on time today. The car wasn't extremely fast over the weekend. How do you feel about it for qualifying?
Actually, we are in on time. The number 40 is in the top 30 in points. Thankful for Fitz Bradshaw Racing and Ray Evernham to put the deal together, General Mills and St. Jude's Foundation. We weren't really good in practice yesterday, but this weekend is just to get laps and learn. We didn't have a very good start in the Busch Series, so just here to make laps and try not to let my competitive frustration get to me and have some fun.
Well, and I guess it's a good thing we talked to her because we all got that wrong.
Here's Aaron Crocker. This collaboration between Ray Evernham and the Fitz Bradshaw team, so that number 40 is guaranteed a spot in the field. They're in the top 30 in owner points. And heard Aaron earlier talking about just this weekend being about laps on the racetrack. Her two previous Busch Series efforts didn't get very many laps on the racetrack.
No. Crashed at Richmond and then also at Dover, so she needs to run some laps. Next year, she's going to run the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series full-time for Ray Evernham. And the second lap puts her in 9th. And 363, not a bad lap.
So Aaron Crocker in the field for today's race here at Memphis, but it is Stacy Compton who has taken over the lead in Busch Pole qualifying. Plenty still to come, though, including the championship duo of Bowyer and Truex.
No, because he is very, very upset.
So while they assess the damage on the two car and decide whether it's backup car time or not, on the track now for a qualifying lap is Pennsylvania Travis Geisler, son of a well-known, very successful dirt track racer for many years. Haven't seen Travis in a while in the NASCAR Busch Series.
No, he said he's been working on this car all summer. He's a graduate of Vanderbilt University here in Nashville, Tennessee. First lap was 27th best. He's got to pick it up. The 91 car, Brad Teague, has been bumped, and Travis goes up to 23:46. So now the 16 car has been bumped.
All right, Ralph, what's the status on the
percent? Sterling Marlin. New look for the yellow freight Dodge. It may be a yellow freight Dodge sponsorship, but it definitely is not a yellow color this week.
But you know what's interesting is I went and looked at this car yesterday. This car is still orange. John McKenzie and the people over at Motorsports Design, since this is only a one-race deal, they did what they call a race wrap. That entire race car is one decal. It took them about 3.5 hours to do it. That way, after this race, if they want to run that car somewhere here in the near future with Casey Mears, they just peel that decal off.
Sneaky, but very effective. Miracle of technology. I think the first car we saw with a full body wrap was Darrell's Chrome car, which took a lot more than 3 hours for John to do.
Yes, it did.
I promise you it did.
This should be a good race car here because this is the same car that Casey Mears finished 4th with at Michigan a couple of weeks ago. Jeff, it don't look like they actually maybe have it on the ground, at least on the straightaways like we saw Kenny Wallace's car earlier. But it's definitely down on the racetrack in the corners.
Car's starting to get a little bit warmer. Be interesting to see if he tries to run 2 laps or just takes this one and is done. 10th quickest, 40:37. 178.3.
He's not going to be happy with that. You can see how much it wiggled right there. I definitely don't think this lap will be any quicker, but he has slowed down about 1/10.5 from what he practiced.
He's definitely got her hot enough right now, guys. The teapot is boiling over.
Well, you see they've got the complete nose taped up solid to really help the front downforce and to really help reduce the drag on the straightaways. And you figure it takes almost 40 seconds to get around here. And with a warm-up lap, that's almost 2 minutes of running around here with no air flowing through to cool the radiator. So it can be a real challenge. That's another reason a lot of guys that they feel like they get a good lap on that first one, they won't run the second one.
Second lap falls off 2/10 for Marlin, so he will stay 10th. 45:34. Big pickup, but still 39th on the board, as this is Shane Hall out of South Carolina, the Grease Lightning. Chevrolet, Shane was 37th in practice.
This sponsorship right now is a one-race sponsorship with hopefully more and maybe a limited schedule in 2005. competed in about 5 races earlier in the season. Got some pretty good motors under the hood of that thing. Carl Wagner, that Joe does motors for Joe Nemechek, built the engine for this car. Some pretty good horsepower. He was 37th quickest in practice at a 41.04.
If he could run that 04 right now, I'd put him pretty solidly in the field.
Just sounded like he was off the throttle an awful long time down in 1 and 2. You know, I've heard some of these guys say that, yeah, you can't run around here obviously wide open, but you maybe don't come completely out of the throttle. You roll out of it about halfway, and the whole key is to pick that throttle up as early as possible. But you heard Casey Kane saying what he did that got his car to pushing off turn 2. He tried to go wide open too soon, and I think the law of physics just took over. He had to roll back out of it to get the thing to turn.
42 flat for Shane Hall. That is 36th. He's going to have to beat 2 more cars to get in the field on time, but he is high enough up the provisional list to make the show.
Yeah, he has slowed down almost a second from what he ran in practice earlier.
But I think you pretty much picked it out, Larry, that his problem was on that first lap was down here in turn 1 and 2. And that is, again, it hurts the remainder of the lap when you have that kind of a problem that early on in a qualifying run.
He's going to try to run his second lap and see if he can get a little closer to what he ran in practice, which, as you said, maybe would get him in on time. And he picks it up, but it's still going to be borderline not using a provisional.
Shane Hall is 36th. As you're watching this commercial, think about who are the...
He caught Newman, the 02 car, pretty easy, but he just can't get by him. He gets up behind him, and all of a sudden the air changes across his car. He picks up that arrow push we talk about, and he can't turn under and pass the 02 car.
All right, this will be a lesson. 30 cars, Christian Fittipaldi, very successful driver in the kart champ cars, but he doesn't have any experience in a stock car. This is his first try.
I guarantee you he's wishing for some wing right now.
Big air dam on the front of the car like a snowplow for air.
Exactly.
And Todd Bodine is hanging right down. He realizes that that's the line that Kevin Harvick is running on the bottom of the racetrack, and he feels like as long as he can stay there, maybe Harvick will not be able to get by him and put him that lap down.
And Matt Kenseth's team is hoping Todd Bodine stays there for a while,
because Matt has closed the gap on him since Harvick has been fighting with Todd here.
Still 6 seconds. Plenty big lead, but
give a lap back.
All right, here we go. He's alongside.
This is Jimmy Morales in number 67 from Mexico City, 47 years old. The 97 Formula 3000 champion of Mexico, a past Formula 2 and Sport Prototype champion here, and champion in 1996 of the Tractor Truck Series, and raced in Grand Am last season.
27th quickest in practice, has to qualify on time, really having a tough time putting that throttle down, and that was a little too far up on the rumble strips, I think, right there, Darrell.
That hurt him right there. He got way stepped out of line there, but overall, I don't think it's going to be a really bad lap. He's picking the throttle up really hard. He's not really playing with the throttle. He's getting it down, and that's how you make time.
The way he's getting off those corners that lead onto the straightaways.
Yeah. Hopping over that curb didn't hurt anything. It didn't knock him out at all. It didn't knock him that much out of shape. If he can get out of here, might have a decent lap.
Morales has to time in. And he is 15th overall at a 90.58.
Which is about a second slower than he ran yesterday. So not quite like it was in practice.
Here's Matt.
Jamie McMurray dropped Chris Cook.
Another new look for the NASCAR Busch Series, Jorge Goerz from Mexico City. He is 34 years old. He's been a champion of their truck series here, of the Mustang Spec Car Series, Sports Prototype champion, Tractor Trucks champion, and he has raced in Indy Lights. I'm talking to a couple of local officials and past competitors here. Don't be surprised if he ends up in the top 5 here.
I think he will. He's got that good look to it. He's hitting all of his marks, clipping the turns, hitting those apexes just right.
This is a team car to David Green, and he tested with David up at Virginia International Raceway last month.
Back on the throttle. It's a pretty nice lap. He'll be proud of that.
Quick in practice yesterday. Let's see what he can do. Oh, this crowd's going to love this. He's on the Busch pole right now.
He has a good-looking lamp. I knew that.
Look at this.
I said don't be surprised. But I'm surprised. That was a whale of a lap.
Robbie Gordon is really surprised.
He will start this afternoon's feature race, the Corona Challenge, from the pole. So he got her done.
I went by that garage this morning. That sponsor on there, you see Robbie Gordon felt like maybe he'd dodged some big bullets with Boris Said and with Ron Fellows, but little did he know. But these guys at Canals, I said, what is that? They said, well, it's a chewing gum. Here, have a piece. My mouth is still on fire.
Little jalapeno.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yep. Thumbs up from Robbie Gordon. Jorge Goerz from here in Mexico City.
Robbie is a 8.3. He's about a 10-0.
Pretty impressive. And I tell you, there's not a lot more bullets that he has to dodge in this qualifying session.
No, the drivers yet to qualify are Stacy Compton, Carlos Contreras, Shauna Robinson, Ashton Lewis Jr., and Paul Menard. Big roar of approval from this crowd as he pulls into impound after a lap that bests Robbie Gordon by 16/100ths of a second.
Again, Mike, you mentioned this is a team that Greg Biffle ran the first 2 races with.
And look who he beat. I mean, good grief. Robbie Gordon, Martin Truex, our current champion.
Yeah, Boris Said.
Fellows. Look at that steering wheel. Oh, that's not a steering wheel.
Here comes the throng of media and crew and well-wishers from the garage. He won't have much time to celebrate because as soon as qualifying is done, he'll start from the pole in the Corona Challenge race.
Nothing like it. Nothing like it. Means so much to these crews that work so hard on these cars. Today is their day. They put the car in the driver's hands. They prepared it the best they know how. Now go get it done.
Stacy Compton on track, the Kingsford Charcoal Ford, and he completes his run 21st, 89.68. Clean run, 21st position. I think the last driver to win a pole in his first ever Busch Series start was Ron Fellows. And look who comes over to congratulate him, Robbie Gordon. All right.
Robbie's a good sport. This will be huge if this indeed stands up.
And I'm corrected. Ron Fellows did win a pole in his first NASCAR Busch race, but Boris Said was the last person to do it in this series.
Pretty good company.
company.
He's possibly joined.
Yes.
Well, you know, we talked about David Green and what a smooth lap he had and how good his car looked. Then you add the experience and a guy that knows this racetrack, and you're going to get a pole run.
Bring the track temp up some, but you know, the low Chevrolet with the shop vac on the side was an awesome here in the qualifying session so far, and I want to say that it'll be the pole, but you know, I'm not going to try to jinx myself either.
All right, well, good luck with that. Mark Garrow?
Well, right now I'm with Tim Fedewa, who came here flying high enough maybe to land on the top of Pikes Peak without a helicopter after that great run last week at New Hampshire. You were 5th fast in practice. Has that momentum from last week carried over right here today?
Well, it always does, Mark. You know, that was a great run for the Supercut team, and you know, we've been picking away all year, and we're hitting the stretch of the season where the tracks that I really like and that we've geared up to run good at. So hopefully we can continue to do this. And I'm just having fun this year. I mean, they've given me a great opportunity at Fitz-Bradshaw, and hopefully we can get more fun this year.
You know, Alan, last week a lot of folks think, including Tim, that one less restart might have meant the win. He had him. He had Matt Kenseth pass there on a yellow flag restart late in the race, but then the caution came out just as he was about to make the pass.
Yeah, couldn't hold it. But a great job by that team last weekend at New Hampshire. And a good solid job by Regan Smith in James Finch's #1 machine. 6th fastest out of 13.
Good run.
So the 21-year-old among the 5 cars left to run.
And another qualifying machine coming up. David Green.
Yeah, he'll be next after Steve Grissom. Grissom's best start this season, 25th at Talladega, making his 5th start of the season in this car. What will be his 260th career NASCAR Busch Series start for the Photo Series champion. Last time he raced here was in 1999. Order today, Steve was 28th, lap #1. Scooped 32nd spot, 27.182 for the Alabama native.
He'll be safe. A lot of experience here. He's one of the best drivers I've ever seen at Bristol.
Yeah, remember the year he won both races in a season there in the NASCAR Busch Series, and one of them he won from way out back.
Exactly.
Starting spot. Back before they did what they do now with the pit roads, he was on the backstretch pit road. That was supposed to be a big disadvantage, and he overcame that and the traffic. I think he was driving for Gary Bechtel then, right? Diamond Ridge Racing.
Diamond Ridge.
Second lap for Grissom, a little bit better, moves him up to 30th starting spot for now, with 43 of 47 drivers having made their runs. And then there were 4.
NASCAR Nextel Cup qualifying continues on the road course at Sonoma. Robbie Gore in the provisional pole sitter. Then it's Boris Said, Tony Stewart, Bill Elliott, and Bobby Labonte, the top 5. This is the 24th car to make a run.
He pulled a rabbit out of a hat there, considering how he was in practice. That's probably going to put him in pretty good shape. We talked about it, Bill. That's a minute 18:45. They're in the mid minute 18s. I think that's going to be good.
And that officially locks out A.J. Allmendinger and Brian Simo. They will not race here on Sunday. And Goosen's, the start of that lap wasn't very good.
No, not at all.
Qualifying for the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series continues on the road course at Sonoma. And Butch Leitzinger jumps into the 18th spot. Boy, and that's big for him.
And I think he's on the right side of a lot of the go-home cars right now.
He just locked out Paul Menard. And locked in Bill Elliott. Boy, that's
is in. It won't be a pink car that Schrader drives.
Yeah, I know. I'm disappointed.
I like purple. It's okay.
Yeah, purple's okay. It reminds me of that big old Barney.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Well, let's watch this fellow. Road course ace Boris Said, second-generation driver.
He's normally pretty exciting to be watching around this place qualifying. There you see the Fox tracks right
there. You see a good example of it right there, Larry. Up in the air. I love that shot.
He's the current Trans Am Series point leader after 3 races. He won 2 of them.
He pushed it. That baby is all over the place.
But you know, before he went off the course right there, our Fox tracks had went to green, so it cost him a lot of time to turn back green right there. Back green. It's going to be really important how he gets through the S's, but he's losing ground right here in the beginning of the S's, but now it's starting to come down.
Daryl, that's a new line way up there at the north end.
Daryl, but he has to be careful. He can't overdrive turn 11, that last quarter, the slowest quarter. Just can't overdrive it.
Yeah, it's this critical turn right here, too. Coming around 10, staying on the course. Okay. It's easy to get off right there, lose a lot of time. Now, these road racing guys, him and Fellows, are really good on this turn right here.
If he don't overdrive it, there you see it turn green right before getting into this last corner. If he gets off this corner good forward bite, he should be on track.
It's where those guys can really beat you is how they get the car down in there, under braking, shifted. They go right from like high gear to straight to first gear.
And Boris Said misses it. 77.075. 8/100ths of a second off of Ricky Rudd, but a great effort for Boris Said. He is second. Inglebright in the Jelly Belly #0. He's won a couple of Southwest Tour races here, trying to break into the field. And he really picks up over his practice speed. He's 31st fastest, and he's in the show.
And somebody, you know, of significance as far as we're concerned, our East Coast crowd is, could miss this show.
Yeah, Brandon Ash is going home. He's lowest on the provisional list of those that are not among the present top 32.
He's in this truck, doing a great job.
Looks like Ted must be fighting a little bit of a handling issue. He's just falling back a little bit there, but I don't know if he's gotten tightened enough yet. A lot of these guys will start so loose it takes a long time for them to get tightened up.
And I was talking to Bobby Hamilton, whose truck was extremely...
Oh, we've got a problem. Tracy Hines getting spun around, coming out of turn number 2. He comes to the infield grass, is able to keep the truck going, gets it back out onto the apron, but our second caution of the day has come out, and Tracy Hines is the reason for that. Lap 51. We'll catch you up on all the details. Tracy Hines keeps the truck going. We'll be back for the pit stops.
Having been there, done that.
Yeah, Stewart was running in the 9th position.
12 car up there. He's already got damage. Tony gets into him trying to make the pass. Turns Tony into the fence. A lot of damage to both those race cars.
And Darrell, what could have prevented that? Kaufman being a lap down, rolled out of the throttle and let Stewart slide up in front of him.
Yeah, and that's smart racing here. You don't race guys here when you're a lap down and you got the 20 laps to go. And
actually, Kaufman's 3 laps down.
But at the start of that, Kaufman's up high, and there's smoke coming from the left front of Kaufman's
he already
car.
had damage from, I think, this other crash down here with Ryan Newman and them.
Stewart is on pit road. Let's go to the leader's pit. And
he and Strimmy talking about which side should he start the race, on the outside or inside, the traditional spot that the pole sitter would start.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see which one he chooses. Normally, the fastest qualifier here will start on the outside because that is the preferred line.
And it is fairly well known, but often
is still the qualifying record holder at IRP. Ray Dunlap, who have you caught up with?
Well, Rick, I'm standing down here by Greg Biffle as he's about to climb in the charter car. Actually, he's already inside. And Greg, all season long, you've been going from one track to another, but man, this one's pretty tough here. From Indy, the big track, to here, to try to get practice and qualifying, everything all done in one day.
Yeah, it really is. You know, I hated to miss that second practice in the National Guard car, but starting at the back here is going to be tough. So, you know, we decided to come over here and qualify this thing, and it's a pretty decent car, charter car is, so hopefully get us a top 10 start spot.
You won from the pole here in 2002, so has this thing got any chance at the pole, or are you just going to be happy with a good run?
Well, Carl was giving me a bad time there. He said I had the pole, no problem, so I should have let him try it, but you know, we probably got at least a shot at a top 10 start spot.
Okay, good luck. That is Greg Biffle getting ready to qualify here, and he was almost in provisional land over at the Brickyard. I believe he'll start 35th, guys.
Speaking of provisional, Shelby Howard is a driver that doesn't have a provisional and has to qualify on time for this race.
Yeah, pretty good lap, though. 22.758 is his quickest lap. That's the second Team Renzi car. That is a teammate to Bobby Hamilton Jr., so a pretty good effort by Shelby Howard. That should be comfortably in the show.
He was really up on the wheel there. It looked like he was getting a little bit squirrely out here. Is this track changing a little bit from when they were practicing earlier?
Well, again, these cars are probably...
Hamilton. We have to call him senior because there's 2 of them attempting to make this race. Bobby Hamilton Sr. finished 3rd. We talked to him earlier. He was pretty good last night in that truck race, and he was obviously very proud of his driver, Chad Chaffin, coming home with the victory.
Sure was, and we'll see both Hamiltons next week in our truck race at Nashville. Bobby's going to drive one of his dad's trucks in the race, so it'll be a 3-truck team for Bobby Hamilton Racing, along with Chad Chaffin, Bobby Hamilton Sr. and Jr.
Just before Bobby Hamilton was the 20 of Mike Bliss. He qualified 8th fastest, 22.496 miles an hour. Bobby Hamilton in front of him, 6th quickest, 22.409 on his first lap, and slowed down just a bit on his second lap.
Good effort for Bobby Sr. The first time in a Busch car in a while. You know, James Finch and the crew is going to be happy with that lap.
So 29 cars have attempted to make the field of 43. Bobby Hamilton, the most recent on the...
Some wiring or something like that. When I went out to qualify, the flashlight fell down at my feet. So I'm running down the backstretch at North Wilkesboro, which is a racetrack similarly sized to this one, trying to, with my left foot, trying to kick the flashlight out of the way so it didn't get underneath the gas pedal. But that was my experience with the flashlight inside the race car.
So you're saying when you set the qualifying record at this racetrack that you held for 5 years, you didn't have any extra help, like maybe a flashlight that stuck the accelerator down or anything?
No flashlight. We just had a great car that day. Andy Petrie, who was here running Michael Waltrip's team. Michael's actually running a Andy Petrie car with his number on it. Andy was my crew chief then, and we went out real late. A situation like that, Morgan Shepherd had gone out and felt like they had won the pole. They were all jumping and screaming and hollering, and Richard Jackson and Andy Petrie and I were probably about the only ones here. And we never really said anything. We just out and beat them and set the track record held for about 5 years. So that was pretty satisfying.
Tyler Walker on the clock, 39th quickest on his first lap. Ray Dunlap.
Hey, Rick, just wanted to tell you a little bit of the action that's going on down here in the garage area. You see the 38 car is right here on the
See, the thing a lot of these guys don't realize is these engine tuners are real soft on the motors or in the engines, practicing, because they don't want to use, they don't want to take a chance on it. They keep the timing real low. They keep the jets up a little. They don't want the guys to get the engines too hot. And so they're real conservative on engines. So when they tune one of these little boys up here, they have a tendency to pick up a lot.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Mark Reno, Johnny Allen with Mike Wallace's car, they've done a pretty nice job of getting that front end down. That car's nice and down on the ground.
All right, Mike Wallace is on track to begin his run. Here's Matt.
Michael Waltrip, a 48.52. Are you pleased with that?
I mean, I don't know. Time will tell. It was a good lap. It was the most RPMs I'd seen on the track. I drove exactly where I wanted to. I got a good start off pit road. I mean, that's all you do is just kind of hope. We'll just see.
He said he's hoping for the temperature to go up and a headwind off of 2 and off of 4. You want both. The combo platter. Let's go to Steve Burns.
All right, thanks, Matt. Ricky Rudd about to climb in. Ricky, what are your thoughts as you get ready to go here?
Well, just time to find out what's going to happen here. This is time to find out. And I think we're in good shape.
Good luck.
Mike Wallace driving for James Finch, the Miccosukee Indian naming Dodge. And something new for Finch's car is the manufacturer's identity on the car. Last year, he wouldn't put the decals on, said he didn't get any help from the brand of car he was running then. Apparently this year he is.
Well, what I like about this car, Larry was talking about the nose, but the back of the car is down too nice, Larry. It's not normally get the back down like that car appears to be. You'll raise the front up in the air quite a bit, but this car's down in the back a good bit.
Yeah, and of course they're running Ernie Elliott engines, and he picks it up to a 49.04, so that's going to put him 4th quickest.
The fastest car in winter testing, Mike Wallace. Right now is 4th
there
fastest.
You see right now he's blinking on the outside of the 2nd row.
Matt Yoakum earlier was trying to sell Ward Burton on David Green. Right now is the 13th to take time, the Haas Automation Chevrolet. Twice he's been a front row starter at Daytona in the NASCAR Busch Series.
Jumps up there to 11th at a 49.34. And Darrell, before this qualifying session got started, I would have said anything in the 48s is great.
Yeah.
But you have to be like his. I think you said 48.70 or
yeah, right in there is going to be kind of a make or break.
Another car out of Hendrick Motorsports for David Green. Steve Burns.
Thanks, Mike. We've caught up with Jeff.
One on the cell phone and one on her.
She had a cell phone under her ear. She was driving with her knee and putting makeup on while she was going down the road. I couldn't believe it.
Running 70.
Running 70.
I hope you gave her appropriate hand signals for what she wasn't doing. Mike Harmon, NASCAR Busch Series driver, trying to move up to Winston Cup. One of 11 drivers today looking to start their first Daytona 500 this Sunday. The Carver All Chevrolet, a car that does not have any provisional points to fall back on.
And I don't think he's going to have a very good speed to fall back on. 51.30 on his first lap and 50.74 on his second lap. That's over 2 seconds off Michael Waltrip right now. So he'll be another one that has to depend on those 125-mile qualifiers on Thursday.
Speedway, former crew chief for Dale Earnhardt in Winston Cup racing, Kirk Shelmerdine, trying to make his first Daytona start driving for ageless, 78 years, he is ageless, Junie Donlevy out of Richmond, Virginia.
Of course, went to victory lane many times here at Daytona, not as a driver, but as a crew chief with Dale Earnhardt in the July race and many 125-mile qualifying races. The Bud Shootout ran second 4 times up through his crew chief stint with Dale Earnhardt up till 1992. Just never was a victory as a crew chief in the Daytona 500.
And that 90 car, every time I think about it, I was sitting in that garage area, that Busch garage area right here, the old one, and Bill Dennis drove that 90 Truxmore car to 3 in a row, I believe it was, Sportsman 300s down here back in the 70s. And I stood there every time we'd come down there and look at that car and figure out how come mine wouldn't run as fast as his. They had a really dominant package.
This is the Freddie B's Ford, not a national chain, but a barn grill in Winston-Salem for Kirk Shelmerdine.
Freddie B. Freddie B. what?
If he makes the race, he'll be the 73rd driver to start a Winston Cup race for car owner Junie Donlevy.
He's 29th quickest, so he'll definitely be one of the ones that has to race his way in through the qualifying races on Thursday.
Well, Jeff Hammond, these teams are going to have a lot of work to do once qualifying ends.
He told us the other day he had mixed emotions about driving in the truck race.
Right.
You know, but based on what happened to him here a couple of years ago.
Nearly cost him his life.
Yeah, and so I could understand why he would have.
Andy Petrie Racing is a team who almost didn't make the Daytona 500.
Look at that big piece of debris back there you had to go around.
It's a plastic bag, I think, Darrell.
I assume so.
They picked up sponsorship from Monaco Motor Coaches to run here at Daytona, and Christian Fittipaldi, the nephew of the Formula One great and Indy 500 champ Emerson Fittipaldi from Brazil, behind the wheel.
This is a one-race deal. I tell you, they had a good season of winter testing. There, see Jeff Green. He has to wait 3 more cars. Dale Earnhardt Jr. right now would be locked in to the 2nd place outside front row. But they were quick all during the winter testing with Christian Fittipaldi. 28th quickest on Saturday in practice.
Okay, I'll only call him Fittipaldi when he drives for the Petties. How's that?
That's fair.
Okay.
Which he actually ran the ARCA race a couple of days ago.
Yeah, for the Petties. Did a great job.
He's only had 1 Winston Cup start. Came last November at Phoenix. DNF'd.
This is just his first lap. That's the reason you see him all the way back to 36. What we continue to call the throwaway lap. Just continue to build that speed with his restrictor plate engines. All the way at the top of the racetrack.
You know, I think some of the things that Andy Petrie started doing several years ago with his race car was a direction a lot of people have gone in. He was one of the first ones to come down here with the really cars that would really suck down and trick kind of front springs, if you will, and really took the car guys in a different direction.
Well, Andy Petrie, Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, and Richard Childress Racing collaborated on aerodynamics for several seasons, and that may be part of that. And now it seems from the time trial results that RCR and DEI have taken things a step further.
He lost a lot of ground off turn 2, Darrell. It's almost like the car slid on him right there on the exit of turn 2. And that hurts you all the way down the back straightaway because it scrubs speed off.
Yeah, because you got the wheels turned hard left, exiting the corner over there. And if they bite or if they jump up in the air and the front end jumps, it can really take speed out of the car. That's low in that hot rod, I say that.
And Christian Fittipaldi times in 24th.
Yeah, it's not too bad for him.
Which, if it holds up, would put him 12th in the 2nd 125-mile qualifying race.
And he had the ARCA race the other day to get some, race experience. Did a good job. He got hung 3 wide many a time, in the middle a couple of times.
Cool. Scott Maxwell comes onto the track in the Cheerios Petty Dodge number 43.
Of course, Scott won this year's Rolex 24-hour race at Daytona in February in the Daytona prototype class, and he actually has the R&D group of Petty Enterprises working with him. Greg Stedman, who was the crew chief on this car for a number of years, is looking after this effort. They tested it at Virginia International Raceway and Road Atlanta and felt like they had a pretty good test, but they definitely struggled in practice, Mike. 43rd quickest. This is a car that has no provisionals. They have to get in the fastest 36.
So Maxwell, a veteran, winning road racer, but to my thinking, Larry, first time he's been in what we call a big car.
A heavy car.
Yep.
He actually set the track record here at Watkins Glen in the Motorola Cup North America Street Stock Championship Series back a few years ago. So he's familiar with the racetrack, but Mike, I think it's the heavier car and the horsepower that makes a difference.
Well, now those cars in that Street Stock Series weigh just as much as a Winston Cup car, but the big difference is the tires. They're not on the type of tire that's used here in Winston Cup. So an adaptation for Scott Maxwell. And at 119.5 miles an hour, that might be borderline.
Yeah, he didn't actually even back up what he ran in practice, which we've not seen any of our first 4 drivers really do that, but a lot like Dale Earnhardt Jr. said, it could be something with an early draw and the track somewhat